Hi, my name's Evelyn Torres, and today is April 25th. I will be going over the case connections for Unit 4. The first case I will be talking about is Case 1, which is about a newborn baby girl, and within 24 hours, she was feeling lethargic, hypothermia, and apnea. The physician on duty did suspect a metabolic disorder and ordered some blood work. When the blood work came back, there was blood ammonia level that was elevated, and I will be discussing the normal mechanisms of ammonia transfer in the body and what should be occurring. I will also discuss how nitrogen is transport connected to gluconeogenesis in the fasted state. And then further analysis also had showed there was urine orotic acid levels that were also elevated. And then I will be also discussing what urea cycle enzyme that is most likely deficient and what urea cycle enzyme is least likely to be impaired. I will also be discussing which amino acid is essential with this deficiency. So, ammonia is a compound that is toxic when produced during the catabolism of amino acids and other nitrogen containing compounds in the body. An important role for the liver is converting ammonia into urea through the urea cycle. Urea is released in the urine, removing excess nitrogen from the body. During ammonia transfer in the body, glutamate dehydrogenase catalyzes the conversion of glutamate to A-ketoglutarate while producing ammonia in the process. Transamination is a process that transfers an amino group from a amino acid to a keto acid, which produces a different amino acid and a whole new keto acid. This process is important for the conversion of excess nitrogen in the urea. Glutaminase is an enzyme that catalyzes the hydrolysis of glutamine to produce ammonia and glutamate. This occurs in the cytosol of the hepatocytes, and it's important for the removing of excess nitrogen. Glutamine synthase catalyzes the conversion of glutamate and ammonia into glutamine and occurs in the astrocytes. During the fasted state, the liver has an important role in maintaining blood glucose levels through gluconeogenesis. The amino acids are used for carbon skeletons for the production of glucose. This process is connected to nitrogen transport because the breakdown of amino acid releases ammonia, which has to be released through the urea cycle. Alanine is the important gluconeogenic amino acid, and it undergoes a transamination into pyruvate that is used for gluconeogenesis. When there is elevated orotic acid in the urine, there is a defect in the urea cycle and can result into hyperammonemia. A deficiency in carbamyl phosphate synthase 1, for short CPS1, and ornithine transcarbamylase, for short OTC, enzymes is what causes elevation in orotic acid. CPS1 catalyzes the first step of the urea cycle, where the ammonia is combined with bicarbonate to produce carbamyl phosphate. And the OTC catalyzes the second step in the urea cycle by combining the carbamyl phosphate with ornithine to form citrulline. CPS1 deficiency can lead to an accumulation of carbamyl phosphate in the mitochondria of the hepatocytes, and it is then converted to orotic acid by the pyrimidine biosynthesis pathway. This results in uridine monophosphate, which is UMP for short, and other pyrimidines to become depleted, which could lead to the megaloblastic anemia. In this case, arginine would be the essential amino acid, and the CPS1 is involved with the metabolism with this amino acid. The next case I will be discussing is case 4, which is about a 58-year-old woman that goes to the emergency department, and she has symptoms of weakness for the past 6 months. She's been feeling fatigued. She's been also saying she has short of breath after walking a few blocks. She also mentions that she has numbness and tingling of her lower extremities and a loss of balance while she walks. She also has black or bloody stool, no history of that, and on her physical examination, she has a 110 BPM, and her other vital signs seem to be normal. On the head and neck examination is notable for pale conjunctivitis and a beefy red tongue with loss of papillae. Cardiac examination also showed a rapid, regular rhythm with a grade 2 out of 6 murmur. And on her neurologic examination, there was a decreased sensation to light touch and the vibration in the lower extremities. The doctor does suspect megaloblastic anemia, and I will be discussing different vitamin deficiencies with iron, B6, and B12. I will also discuss how this vitamin deficiency impairs the purine or pyrimidine metabolism, and what other potential laboratory tests and findings that would help assist with to differentiate. So as per the patient's clinical presentation, it is more likely this patient is experiencing a vitamin B12 deficiency. This deficiency can cause megaloblastic anemia, which presents with weakness, fatigue, shortness of breath, and a fast heartbeat. Additionally, the patient's numbness and the tingling in the lower extremities are also related with the vitamin B12 deficiency. In her physical examination, she also showed a beefy red tongue, which is also a common finding in vitamin 12 deficiency, and the systolic heart murmur may be related to the anemia. Vitamin B6 deficiency can cause anemia, although it is usually microcystic, meaning the red blood cells are smaller and not enough hemoglobin, and not megaloblastic, which makes large red blood cells. This deficiency is not commonly associated with the neurological symptoms that she's having. With iron deficiency, it can also cause fatigue, weakness, and shortness of breath, but it is not associated with this patient's neurological symptoms like the numbness, tingling in the extremities, or her loss of balance. Vitamin B12 is important for the metabolism of purines and pyrimidines and are the building blocks of RNA and DNA. With vitamin B12 deficiency, the weakened metabolism of the nucleic acids can lead to megaloblastic changes in bone marrow and can result in the production of large red blood cells. For any further diagnostics or to confirm, a laboratory test is recommended, like a CBC, which is a complete blood count, serum B12 level, and a blood smear. The CBC will show macrocytosis, which is the large red blood cell, and a low hematocrit, and the blood smear can show the hypersegmented neutrophils, which is commonly found with people who have the megaloblastic anemia. A more specific test would be the serum B12. So if the levels are less than 200 pg per ml, then it indicates a deficiency. Another test that can be helpful is a reticulocyte count, and it helps with distinguishing between low production of red blood cells and an increased destruction of red blood cells. Iron studies can also help with the differentiating between iron deficiency anemia from a chronic disease and from a chronic disease. So with this case, it's most likely that she has a vitamin B12 deficiency. And that is it for both of my cases.